Hey there, YouTubers. Well, it's game day on Good Packer Nation Morning today, Monday, after the big Thanksgiving weekend. So we talk about some keys to the game against the Philadelphia Eagles. Mostly, we sort of respond to all the comments. And of course, because it's game day and we didn't have a Sunday game, today is Prediction Monday. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We also talk about our new Fire Fan game coming out and give some more details on that. So stay tuned. Good Packer Nation Morning. Good Packer Nation game day morning, everybody. It's Monday Night Football coming up, a big one, Packers versus the Eagles. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but today, since we don't have a Sunday game, today is going to be Prediction Monday. And I hope, first of all, all of you had a great Thanksgiving weekend. I hope you had a long one. I hope you had a great one. I hope you had a safe one. I hope all the hunters out there got your meat in the freezer for the winter and came home safe. Let me know who you are and where you're coming at me from, and we will do a little Packer Nation roll call as we get on and get ready to talk real quick about this little thing called Packers versus the Eagles. My buddy Sean is here. Yes, it was good. Thank you for asking, Sean. Trevor is here. Gustavo, Candy, and Adien. David is here as well from Minnesota. Way to holding down the fort. Tim is back. Tim says, loving the game. We're going to talk a little bit. All my Fire Fan folks out there, hold on. You got to watch the show to the end because we got a lot of information. Jamie and Phil is here. Says happy game day to everybody. Maurice is back. And Maurice is making the comment, do or die. We'll talk a little bit about that for sure. Jerry, Lyle, and Kate. Good to see all you guys. Yeah, it's going to be a big one. And it's interesting the way this season is laid out. It's interesting the way the schedule has laid out, and it's interesting the way the Packers season has sort of fallen apart with still a chance for us to hold it together. There is still a chance. Hi, Will. Hi, Tom. Tom is commenting on the Badgers, so I am going to say go Bucky because I'm a Wisconsin boy. David is here, Gary, Jordan, and Joshua as well. There's so much at stake right now. Basically, if the Packers drop this game, not just the streak of losses, but the entire season just becomes pretty much out of reach at that point. Detroit now, 7-4? We're 4-6. We'd be 4-7 with 7 losses. Even in the NFC North, you can't expect to be even in the NFC, you can't expect to have a wild card bid. So it gets very, very serious, and it starts tonight. Now, of course, we talked about it last week. Aaron Rodgers got up and said that he believes the Packers can run the table. I had you guys emoji me your thoughts on that comment, and we got some interesting. It was very interesting, actually. I have been one that I still think even with the injuries, the Packers have the personnel to be winning some of these games. However, if you'd asked me at the beginning of the season, the Eagles would not necessarily have been one of them. I'd have been worried about the Eagles from the start, been worried about the Falcons from the start. This is a team that is just a season offset from being a playoff team, I believe. Goff is playing well. They are playing at home. Eagles are 4-0 at home this year. So the Packers now have to look at the possibility of trying to break that streak as well. A team that is trending, a team that is confident, a team that is playing at home and knows they can win at home. And you add to that the fact that the Philadelphia fans are some of the most raucous, and I give them credit for it, to be honest. I mean, if they're throwing stuff at things, that's a different story. But fans are going to be coming to play as well. These guys take their team seriously. They take the game seriously. And it'll be interesting to see if the Packers can overcome all of these things. You've got to think the odds are not in the Packers' favor at this point, with all of those things said. I said Goff accidentally instead of Wentz. I think I'm mixing up my picks there. But yeah, you've got to think that the odds are not in favor of the Packers. And of course, with the game tonight, we're going to be doing our predictions in a little bit. And so it'll be interesting to see how predictions roll out. I'll be giving mine, of course, and then you guys can emoji me if you think I'm crazy. but I don't think my picks are going to be crazy. I'm actually, you get to this point in this season and all of your picks start to get very practical at one point. So, all right, so yeah, Philadelphia is 4-0 at home. They're looking to extend that, and they have a couple wins. Let's talk about the Philadelphia's schedule as well, because they are NFC East. All of the NFC North plays all of the NFC East. So they did lose to the Lions, but they lost by 1 point in that game, and that was first game of the season. So, first game of the season, it's a little hard to tell what's going on. But the key game to me was a couple games back on the 13th. The Eagles beat the Falcons and held them to 15 points. And if you think about it, who's going to hold the Falcons offense to 15 points? Not many teams out there. So Aaron Rodgers, with his comment that we can run the table, is going to have his work cut out for him, especially in Philadelphia. But then the Eagles turned around and lost to the Seahawks right following that. So this is interesting because look at the Eagles lost to the Giants. We beat the Giants. The Eagles beat the Falcons. We lost to the Falcons. These are all got teams in the playoff mix. And then the Eagles lost to the Seahawks. And we have to, on the 9th of December, or 11th of December, we've got to play the Seahawks. So again, like we've said, the way that this season has laid out, the Packers have their hand on the wheel of their own season. And right now, as of right now, they have not been able to take control of that. They've had every opportunity. Jared is here, have had every opportunity and have not taken advantage of it. Now, this was against some teams that were vulnerable. The Colts were a vulnerable team. The Falcons, frankly, were a vulnerable team because of the way, because we only lost by 1 freaking point. I think the Titans were a vulnerable team. We made the Titans look like world beaters, and they're not. Tyler says he's going to be in Philly tonight, repping the Pack. Way to go, Tyler. All right, we salute you. Make some noise. Hope that you're there to witness a big win and a start of a major turnaround and some really good things in Packer Nation. So Yolanda says, let's take the next 6. And I am all for that. The question is, can we do it? So, yeah, right now, let's talk. I'll keep chatting away, but it's time for you to roll up your picks because it's Prediction Monday today. I hope you're having a good Monday. I know it's the beginning of the week after a long weekend is always rough. And so I hope you're doing all right. I hope you survived Black Friday as well. I hope we don't have anybody on the injured reserve list from Black Friday shenanigans out there. Mike is here from Winnipeg again. Good to see you, bro. Or good to see you, I should say. I'm interested in what you guys are saying. We've got David out there says 27-10 Packers, which is interesting. I'm interested in that one. And if you have any bold predictions, if you've got any players to watch, we'll talk about all that stuff today. Usually when we do game day, it's as much as I can. It's your show, folks. So Jamie says 24-17 Packers. Tom says 27-23 Packers get it done tonight. We've got another Go Badgers out there, which I shamelessly support. I know that there are other supporters of other college teams out there as well. Virginia says good morning from El Paso. Johnny says 31-27 Packers with a close one there. That's interesting to see. Yeah, and I agree. I think it's going to be close. Angel says 24-20 Packers. Most of the spreads are getting closer and closer as this season has gone by. I missed yours, Bryce. If you want to roll it up again, that's fine. I apologize for that. Virginia's got 21-17 with another close one. 31-21 says Gustavo, so a 10-point spread there. Ricky's got 30-14 Philly. And we've got a 27-24 Philly. So we've got, for the first time in the season, we've been homing these guys. We have known that there's something wrong with this Packers team from the beginning. We get Jordy Nelson back. Early on, we had a stacked backfield. There is no reason that this Packer team should not have won the game against the Vikings with all the players we had. To only put up 14 points in that game, not acceptable. Our defense did enough in that game. Then we started losing players on the offensive side. We started losing players everywhere. And we've been losing players everywhere ever since. Maybe we get Jake Ryan back. I think at this point, I'm going to comment on that because if we get Jake Ryan back, everything I hear Jake Ryan say tells me he is not ready. If we get him back, I think he's going to come back. He's going to be Eddie Lacy. He's going to get re-injured or he's going to be dinged up for the whole rest of the season. If he can come back and play well hurt, I am going to be a huge Jake Ryan fan from now until forever because he has made a difference already this year. We finally have seen an inside linebacker lead tackles for a change, frankly, since A.J. Hawk left. We know with Dom Capers' defense, we're going to have a lot of tackles in the cornerbacks, a lot of tackles in the safeties. There is going to be a concentration there, and we've seen that for years. But what we haven't seen is any inside linebacker really taking over a game in the sense of having that double digits tackle game. And now we've got that kind of a guy with Jake Ryan, and he's quietly done it. Well, then, of course, as soon as he starts to show that he is a game changer or a playmaker, he has to go out with injury. I don't know what it is with this team, but it's like anybody who can play the game it might as well just head to the training room because we get injured. It's just terrible. Tyron has a comment, Green Bay all day, every play. I don't care what anybody say. I'm liking that. But yeah, it's just been crazy. Then what we saw was all of a sudden the seesaw changed. We had an offense that was struggling. Our offense early in the season looked just like the offense of last year without Jordy Nelson. And then we lost Eddie Lacy. We were struggling to figure out what the running back situation was going to be. Who was even going to be in the backfield? How many sets could we even put on the field with a player in the backfield? Which running back are we going to bring on? Jared Cook was injured. But then Jared Cook comes back. Now the offense has started to trend upward, and Aaron Rodgers has been playing lights out, quite frankly. Yes, we stalled out for 3 series early in the game against Washington. However, Rodgers mentioned that, said we've got to clean that up. We've got to get an early start because he has made it clear that he knows to some extent the offense is going to have to carry this team moving forward. The reason for that is because as soon as the offense started to click, the defense fell into a chasm. This defense has been horrible. And I know they've got injuries. We can't get anybody on the field. We were missing Clay Matthews. That made a huge difference. One of my keys to this game, my 2 players to watch come on the defensive side of the ball. My number 1 player to watch. And I know nobody else is going to name this guy. He's going to be the last player to watch that anybody's going to name out there in the Packers blogosphere, on Packers.com, any of the national pundits. But Jake Ryan is my player to watch. If he can play, and if he can, he's a player that I don't even know if he's going to make the field, going to take the field tonight. But if he can play, and he can play well, I think he makes a big difference in this game. I don't think it comes in the form of any sack fumbles, but I think he makes a difference shoring up the inside and making sure that our defense, the middle is solid for a change. The other one is Clay Matthews because I think Clay Matthews can make a difference because he is now healthier than he was last week and has had an extra day on top of that. Of course, it was a Sunday night game, so it was basically an extra night of rest. But I think Clay Matthews and Jake Ryan being able to play will make a big difference because here's what we're looking at, folks. We are looking at a team, the offense is trending up. We're getting close to that 30-point game. We haven't really hit it for a long time, but we're getting close. Our defense, on the other hand, has been letting everyone drop a 40-burger on us, and here's how they're doing it. We are playing okay football, except we're giving up huge plays right at the beginning of the game. We're giving up either a touchdown. We're giving up a touchdown within 30 seconds of every game somehow, either the defense, special teams, somehow. Right before the half, we're giving up touchdowns right before every stinking half. And we're giving up touchdowns at the end of every single game. We are giving up 21 points of that in that scenario. Beginning of the game, end of the half, end of the game. Every single game. It has to stop. So if our defense, and frankly, 2 of the 3 of those, I think we might be able to still survive because I believe the Packers are going to break 30 points tonight. I see a lot of angry faces, and yeah, that's right, because it is sickening to watch a defense or special teams giving up a touchdown within 30 seconds of the game starting. Okay, that is unacceptable. Period. Exclamation point! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! And then you add to that, we give up another touchdown right before every single half. And what you're playing for in the half when you defer, you're playing for that one stop that gives your offense a chance to get to double up, to get a field goal and then come back after the half with a touchdown, or even better, get a touchdown and then come back and have the ball first series of the second half. We have not been able to leverage that to our advantage because our defense is giving up a long drive that eats up the rest of the clock and gives up not field goals, but touchdowns. Even if they could hold, in two of these instances, if they could hold a team to a field goal, that's only 6 points. That's less than one touchdown that Aaron Rodgers and the offense has to make up. And then at the end of the game, if we can get one stop at the end of one of these games, somebody has to step up on defense and be a playmaker. And we have not been able to do it. That is, in terms of keys to the game, my absolute key to the game is for this defense to finally get the one stop that they have needed. And remember, last year, our defense was making these stops. We were knocking the ball away from Phillip Rivers at the end of the game. We were getting that interception at the end of the game. Now what we're doing is consistently giving up touchdowns, all right? So my keys to the game start and finish with that one big play at the end of the game. We're going to have one series, I think, where we're going to need to make a stop. And the defense has not been able to do it. If they do it, I think we have a chance to win this game. If they don't, I don't think we have a chance to win this game. Willie is saying, I think this is the game the defense shows up, and I hope you're right. Because I think they're capable, and I think Randall may be feeling better out there. Obviously, part of the reason, and obviously the coaches can't talk about this, the players can't talk about this, but this defense has been racked with injuries in the backfield. Enough injuries to take our defensive backfield, which was a position of depth in training camp, and turn it into a triage unit. And at this point, and we've got some agreement that the defense is going to step up in this one. I think the defense is going to do more. I think the defense is going to push that total down. I don't think the Eagles drop a 40-burger on us, which is basically what we should be predicting if we talk about the trend at this point. They're at home. They can score. But I think that the defense pushes it down into that 30 range, and I think this ends up being, I think every game, okay, so from the defensive side of the ball, you've got to think every game has to be a shootout. Aaron Rodgers has to go out there and sling the ball around if we're going to have a chance, because we're going to have to score a lot of points. Because every team that trots out on the field against us, it doesn't matter. You could be the Colts, you could be the Titans. And these are not horrible teams, but they're not world beaters by any stretch either. And they're all scoring points left and right on this Packers defense. Yeah. And Anthony's saying spend some money next year in cornerbacks and strong safeties. And it's kind of a hindsight thing, because nobody was talking about all this need at cornerbacks and safeties, because we're very happy with the way Morgan Burnett had bounced back and the way HaHa Clinton Dix was playing, and we were extremely excited about our second-year cornerbacks. So part of it is just availability. Nobody's been available. But yes, if we look back, part of it has been, the real shocker this year in the defensive backfield has been the inability of our second-year cornerbacks to make the second-year leap. They're supposed to be better this year, and they took a step back. We saw that, and I'm not talking about injuries. I'm talking about when they were healthy, they took a step back. Maurice is mentioning almost every team has got season-high stats against the Pack. And this is what, my son and I were talking about this. It's like, if any team needs a boost, if they need a shot in the arm, the Packers are the team to play. And that is just sick to think for me. It really is. I hate thinking that, but it's true. And the Packers need to get it done right now. There is no time. We've talked about how, the Washington game was the Super Bowl. Well, every single game is a Super Bowl for the Green Bay Packers right now. And what I have yet to see is any kind of fire in the belly of this team. I've watched. We were playing Fire Fan yesterday, my brother and I. It's in beta, so we're testing it. And Maurice is out there. He knows that it's had problems. It had tons of problems when they downloaded it because the thing went over huge, even bigger than we thought, to the tune of 43,000 inside the game interactions a minute. So we're playing that, and I'm watching other teams. So I spent 9 hours watching other teams, and I had a great time doing it because of the game. But what I noticed is this. Every other team I watched had more fire. They were playing with more energy. And it got me thinking, and I want to comment on this because they had a spot, and I can't remember the kid's name. I wanted to write it down, but they had a spot. Some of you might have seen this on NFL Network about this little boy, this little football player dude, and he lost his legs. I was in the other room. I don't even know how he lost his legs, but he lost both of his legs at the knees, all right? And he got himself these running blades. And this little dude, he had to be, 8 or 9 years old. He's playing Pop Warner football. He went out and played football on his blades out there. And it was such a freaking awesome story. And what it let me know, what it reminded me of, and I found myself thinking, if he got to meet Odell, he's a Giants fan, he got to meet Odell Beckham. I say Beckman, I'm going to say Beckham in this case, just because this is a serious story and I'm not fooling around. But if I had had a chance to talk to this kid, what I would have told him is, listen, and this is it's mic drop time, guys. This is my message to the Packers team, all right? Yes, football is about the physicals, but football, to my mind, begins and ends right here with heart. Football begins and ends with heart. Yes, you can have all the physical tools in the world. Yes, you need to use your mind. You can't play out of your head. It is a chess game. Yes, the intellect is very, very important. But to me, football begins and ends with heart. Because you can have the body to match it. You can know all the plays. But if you don't play with heart, you're going to get, and somebody else does, guess what? You're about to get trucked. I got news for you. And we have seen this Packer team continue to get trucked. Is it not a viable description of this team at this time that they are getting trucked out there? This team needs to find some heart. Why don't you put a heart on the screen if you're ready for this team to play with some heart? I think that is an appropriate thing to say on Monday night. And I think if they begin to do this, we will begin to see wins come back. I'm not talking about getting emotional penalties and stuff like this. I'm talking about playing with heart. I'm talking about realizing that you're out there playing a game and making millions of bucks. And this game is a freaking fun game to play. And there are thousands and thousands of people who could thumbs up me right now, because I know a bunch of them are watching, that would give their eye teeth to step out on the field and play for the Green Bay Packers would be, was your dream from the time you were 5 years old in Pop Warner. Or for that matter, to just step out on the field and be able to play again one more time. Get out there and play with heart. I'm talking to Clay Matthews. I'm talking to Julius Peppers. I'm talking to Morgan Burnett. What happened to, and I'm talking to HaHa Clinton Dix. We got to go out there. We got to play with heart. Perry, Jones. Mark is saying, I play for free. And he too many concussions. This is a guy that played the game hard. You get concussions from playing the game hard most of the time. And many of us would give anything we had, our most valuable possessions, to step out on the field and get to play this awesome game one more time. And Whitney says, looks like they're just collecting a paycheck. And I hate to say this because it's a criticism that, because I love this team. I know you guys love this team. But this is part of the thing that goes to, the cast and the character and the culture of this team. It's very cerebral. And Cerebral, if you can get, we've got pieces, we've had pieces in place in the past where Cerebral has been enough to sort of, yes, we're going to think things through. We're not going to panic, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I've said it before, I don't ever want to see any leader or any player on this team panic, because that never helps. We all need to be cool and collected. But when you get on the field, we need to play with heart. What I'm talking about, let me talk about what I'm talking about when I say playing with heart. I'm not talking about playing crazy. I'm talking about when you close on a tackle, you got a little glint in your eye. I'm talking about when you know your number has been called as a running back, you got a little glint in your eye. Now, hopefully it's not the kind of glint that the defense can pick up, because if that glint is in your eye, sometimes the defense knows you're getting the ball, and that can be a problem. But I'm talking about when Aaron Rodgers, when you see a defensive set and you know you've got the right play call on, you just sort of, it's called being in the zone. You just drop back, everything sort of slows down, and you drop back, you know what's happening, you make the fake, and you throw that beautiful, perfect pass to Jordy Nelson for a 65-yard touchdown, and you're the first one down the field at the other end of that play to congratulate him. It's hard to put your finger on heart. It's something you can't really describe. But I think we need to have it. Tom's mentioning, and we're not Bears fans, but that Mike Singletary look. And that's exactly right, especially on defense. I mean, you knew it was coming every play. And Clay Matthews is the kind of guy that can do that. Julius Peppers, Nick Perry has been the kind of guy that can do that. Time for Kenny Clark to step up. It's time for our defensive backfield to get those interceptions, to play back, to play smart. But when that ball is in the air, when that ball is in the air, says to a cornerback or a safety, that is not your ball, it belongs to me. That guy back there is my quarterback. He throws to me when he throws the ball. Marcus saying, you mean Brett Favre heart? Yeah, well, we saw Brett Favre heart from time to time, but yeah, definitely. I would take that over this cerebral, we've heard the same story. We've heard the same tired lines long enough. It's time to go out there and play. All right, so my prediction, I have on FireFan, I have already put in my prediction. These pregame predictions you can change. Supposedly, I haven't been able to do them, but again, it's in beta. You can change up to game time. My mind tells me that this Packers, the defense, we don't have enough. We don't have the players to get it done, is what my mind tells me. My mind tells me the offense is right on. They've on the cusp of breaking that 30-point, and if they don't have these full quarters of stalling out, and that's what Aaron Rodgers talked about, we are going to break 30. So this is a tough one because, and I feel like I've picked these Packers and they've burned me every time, and my brain is telling me this team they're just not able to get it done at this point. And Ryan's asking me, but my body, my heart, what is my heart telling me? All right. Well, with the mic drop, I got to go with heart. I'm going to go, I think 35-31 Packers in this game. I got to write it on the board. I'm not going to break it down because I'm going against what my brain is telling me. Everything this Packers team has showed has been, that the defense has not been able to get a stop when they really need to all year, basically. Other than the Jacksonville game, I think we had that one series. The two fourth downs, I think. But since then, they've just not been able to do it. So this is one of those games, but this is the beauty of football. That's why they play the game, is anyone can win on any given day at any given time. This is a night game. The Packers have had just a slight bit of rest. I do think Clay Matthews is going to play in this game. I thought he would make an immediate impact. Frankly, I don't think he was 100%. Maybe Randall gets back there. I do think Jake Ryan is my player to watch. If he takes the field, I think this game changes a little bit. I think it may be a touchdown or a field goal difference in terms of us, a 3-and-out as opposed to a field goal or a touchdown. That could be the difference in this game. Obviously, I've got it as a close one and a shootout. If I was coaching this game offensively, I would be very concerned about getting into a shootout. And the reason being, I've looked at what this defense has failed to do. They cannot get stops. They are not able to do it. I know some people think they show up tonight. It's possible. They could show up on any given night. So I think that if I was trying to put together an offensive game plan, I would be trying. I know we've got to throw the ball, but I would be trying to manage the clock through throwing the ball. Short passes. When I think Jared Cook is on offense, look at what he did, other than the fumble, which really was sad because it pretty much put the game out of reach. But 6 catches for over 100 yards in that game. However, we also know that other teams' defensive coordinators saw that happen too. Sherry's got 21-10 pack. We've got to try to manage the time clock. Time of possession is going to be important. If we matriculate the ball down the field, we score in 3 minutes on each drive, all we're really doing is rolling out the Eagles, and that's just, to my mind, going to up their point total and put them in the 40, the high 30s, which I'm hard pressed truly to think that we're finally going to break 30, but I'm calling it because I've called it all year, and we're capable. And I do think with Jared Cook back, we can get up there. Gary's mentioning clock management. I think we've got to be careful how quickly we score. And normally, putting points on the board obviously is most important. But if we just go out there, let's say all of a sudden Jordy Nelson starts breaking these long ones off, we're putting the defense back on the field in short order. Our defense has struggled, and what we could see, then now we see, and we kind of know that this is very much how this game is set up to be a shootout in a lot of ways, because our defense can't stop anything in the backfield. And we can't get to the quarterback either. So one of those two things has to change. We either have to start picking the balls off on the backside, or we have to start getting to the quarterback, or this game is not even going to be close. On the offensive side, we've started to score finally. So we've got Maurice is mentioning the hurry-up offense, and I would like to use the hurry-up offense in a more limited capacity because, yes, the hurry-up offense is what gets us going from time to time. It's what puts us into rhythm from time to time. However, if you don't get in rhythm right off the bat, it can really hurt you. And I think, rolling out those, the first 15 plays or so, they are sort of scripted in concept. And if we get rolling, then yes, let's roll out the hurry-up and see what happens. And what a great thing it would be for a change if this team did not have to play from behind. And there's where Maurice's comment comes in, is if this team gets in a rhythm early, watch out. However, if this team gets in a rhythm early, I think it really just hedges our bet because, again, are we going to get that stop at the end of the game that we need it, when we really need it? Are we going to get that stop at the end of the half when we really need it? To this point, the answer has consistently been no. So one of these two things has to happen. I do believe in this game that the defense pushes the offensive scoring down below 40. I mean, for crying out loud. And I do believe that the offense pushes it, and I'm hesitant to say it, but over 30. I really believe that this offense is capable of hitting that 28-ish range. And hopefully Jared Cook comes on again and we get some things done, and Adams has a little bit bigger game and Cobb has a little bit bigger game. Look at how difficult a catch Jordy Nelson had to make for that touchdown against Washington. I mean, that was a heck of a catch. Phil says Navy would put up 75 on Green Bay. And we've got a lot of people understanding the very real possibility that this is another loss. And if this becomes a loss, now we've dropped another one in the NFC East, Washington, and we do have the Giants game. However, if we turn this one around and we can beat the Eagles, it becomes very important. Number one, and it's so sad to say, number one, you get a tick in the win column for a change. And we've got a bold prediction. Sean says Christine Michael's going to stink up the field and be cut tomorrow. I think that he's here to stay. I think Christine Michael is another my offensive player to watch is him. If Christine Michael can give us a serviceable run game where maybe we come close to double digits in the running game, that helps us with time of possession. If it helps us with time of possession, I think, and even better, if he could help us finish drives, which we've struggled with as well. That's a tall order. And so I think, you know, the Ted Thompson line would be, yeah, he's gone in a couple days. I think he's here to stay. I hope he is. But we'll see. He's been kind of hit or miss. However, he does have potential, and he has had more time to get used to the offense, and we'll see what happens. Gary says, have faith Packers will win. I truly hope so. And like I say, I'm picking them. Sometimes you pick with your mind. Sometimes you pick with your heart. I'm picking with my heart today. Sometimes you pick... sometimes you pick for other reasons. Like I almost pick them to lose just because every time I pick them to win, they lose. And I know there are some others out there that probably are the same way. It's like, I'm just going to pick them to lose because then maybe they'll win. So we will see what the Packers can do, and it's going to be a huge game. You know, you got to wait till late at night. It's very, very late. And I don't know. We'll see what happens. Players to watch for me, Jake Ryan, and I do think getting a serviceable running game is going to be very important. Obviously, Starks is probably going to take most of the load on that, but I would like to see Michael. I'd like to see enough for us to get a taste of whether this guy can make a true addition to our running back situation. And the questions out there being, can the Packers offense not stall out for full quarters at a time? And on the defensive side of the ball, can the Packers defense make that one or two stops? I think if we can convert 2 of the 3 stops to field goals and get 1 stop, we win this game. And it might even be a fairly handily. I just don't see us being able to do that anymore. So we'll see. All right. Well, we'll end the discussion of that. Any more bold predictions you have are fine with me. This is really supposed to be your show. I've been talking the whole time. They have to get in there and get him some touches. Yeah, Bryce is mentioning, and I think you're talking about Christine Michael. I agree. I want to see him get some touches. You know, sometimes you saw this with, Andy Reid talked about this last night with the Kansas City Chiefs against the Denver Broncos. He said, sometimes you have to stick with the run game even when it's not working for you. And what we've seen is this sort of back and forth Packer offense, and sometimes you got to stick with the running game just to keep the defense honest. So we will see what happens. For the last 2 weeks, I've been extremely hesitant. Actually, 3 weeks, I've been extremely hesitant about my prediction, and I have had to eat it every week, and that sucks. But I'll tell you what doesn't suck, and so it's time for our Fire Fan update of the day, because there is a lot of news out there. So I'm just going to chat. Those of you that are not on Fire Fan, you can get it now on the Play Store. The code to put in is Get the Ring. But I want to make a very clear announcement. This is a public beta release, okay? So if you don't know what a public beta release is, hold off, because you're signed up early. FireFan is going to notify you when the full release is out, okay? So you don't have to worry. You don't have to get in. However, if you want to get the game, you can get it right now. What you need to understand is a public beta is basically gathering data for what doesn't work so that they can get the stuff fixed that they need to get fixed before they truly roll it out. So this is what we have going on. Now, they didn't really make that as clear to us before the game release as I was hoping they would, because we didn't really know it was a beta until very shortly before Thanksgiving. However, this company has been very, very good about trying to keep their promises the best they can, and this is a huge project they've got. Yes, you can get it. Yes, you can play it, but you've got to be ready for problems, because literally they went to #1 in iTunes in about 2 hours, so they struggled. The servers crashed. They had resource allocation problems, and that's what you need. You have to do that to really know what's going on. So yes, you can get it. Yes, you can play it. All the pre-game sets are free. So we're going to have, and we're going to start this week, some videotapes showing you tips and tricks on how to win, okay? So all of you, if you're out there and you're very serious about winning the Precious, that's our trophy that we're just giving away. It's just our trophy. And you want to start practicing, there is no league play for the Precious right now, okay? So you need to understand, you can play, my league is Packer Domination. You should see the symbol, the GPN symbol, but it is not league play for the Precious. I will make a very clear announcement on that, okay? So you can play anything you want and start gathering points. You know, your loyalty reward points are lifetime achievements, okay? So you can start gathering those already. And if you just are patient with the things that go wrong, there's going to be glitches, et cetera, you can already gather points, okay? But do not worry about, if anything goes wrong, don't think it's going to count against your trophy play, because this is not the league. We're going to set up a new league to play, and I'm going to play a bunch of games. I'm going to get enough games in by the time they do the public release to make it worth giving away my trophy. All right, Maurice is asking, can you win tokens too? Because I notice people can. Yeah, okay, Maurice, that's a great question. He's asking about, can you win tokens? Here's the deal. While it's in beta, and Maurice, you don't buy tokens. They're gonna throw at you when you download the game. They're gonna throw a bunch of tokens your way for free. Okay, so I went in. Here's another thing I did. This is the tip. Okay, here's your pro tip for the day on FireFan. And I don't know this for sure, but I know it happened for 2 people. I powered my phone down, powered it back up, opened the game up, and like my tokens doubled. Okay, so tokens are kind of a non-issue. Don't buy them yet. You should get a handful of them to play with, and it's very the tokens are really expensive. You can get like 36 of them for under $5. I mean, you can play a ton of games for nothing. But you should be getting a handful of free tokens. And then my understanding is you get 12 free tokens when the public release comes out. So we'll see how that goes. But yes, they are basically giving away free play right now. You don't have to buy tokens, okay? If you want to buy them and stockpile them, you can do that too. My brother JR did that. So at any rate, feel free to play, but don't get uptight about anything, okay? It's not league play toward the ring, the Precious, yet, and it is a beta. It's going to have problems. But we played 3 games straight through last night, and I will tell you one thing right now. This thing is going to be the Facebook of sports. It's got a lot of features. You can go in, set up your profile. You can have your picture associated with it. You can find me. You can find contacts on there, start getting connected. You can find leagues, you can find games, and you can you do one game set and you can play as many leagues as you want, and it's all with that single game set. And then you play live during the game. And I'll tell you what, I watched 3 games of teams that I didn't give a hoot about yesterday, and the whole day went by so fast because I was having so much fun playing. That doesn't mean there weren't problems. There were times when they're actually taking it down from time to time to do some coding, I think. But it is an absolute blast. Once they get everything squared away, they've got to get it to play well. There's still some problems that are important, but it's going to be a really good time. All right. Well, we've got more and more confidence. Tyron says we can all play some Madden. Okay. Marcus, our defense is hurting. Definitely, we need an injection of, talent. Perhaps we need Jake Ryan back. I think would help us out with the running game. Vince says, and I'll say the same thing. If we lose out today, we should lose out for a better draft pick. That may happen, but you won't ever hear me pull for it because to me that is just a loser mentality. I won't ever be a proponent of that. I can't do it. Yes, and frankly, I mean, Yeah, you won't ever hear me say play for a draft pick. I've had that conversation with a few people, and it may happen. I mean, frankly, if we can't beat the Eagles are one of the tougher teams. If we can't beat the Eagles, can we beat the Seahawks? I don't think so. Can we even beat the Minnesota Vikings and the Detroit Lions late in the season? I don't think so. So if we can't get it together, if we can't turn the team around, we're not going to turn this season around. So it very well may play out the way you say. I'm just not going to be a proponent of it. I just won't go out on. I won't tell anybody to go out on the field with the idea that if we lose, that it's better to lose. I can't go there. My brain can't function that way. So. That's what the Cowboys did last year. And never tank a season. It may happen to the Packers, and there's a reason that the system works that way, because then, yes, we do get a higher draft pick, and we haven't been the beneficiaries of a high draft pick for a very long time. But yeah. All right. Well, folks, it's Monday. I've held you over long. But yes, if you want to get the game, it is available on iTunes App Store and Google Play. Just remember, it's in beta. And remember, nothing you do is going to hurt you in terms of the play toward the Precious. We're going to get all that figured out. They've got a long way still to go. But this game is going to be freaking sweet. All right, our league. Let me talk about that, because Trevor's asking, what's our league? And so, first of all, I want to say, you can play any league. You can start your own league as a player, and all of your game picks, your pregame picks, can go toward all the different leagues without having to redo anything. And then your live play, you kind of have to choose one of the leagues that you want to play with. Okay. The league that I created, and what happened is I actually created the league. You guys got to be loving this, because even with the problems of the beta, you guys are playing the beta. You guys are testers for this game. And I got on and I downloaded it because one of my guys texted me and said, hey, listen, it's out in Google Play. I found it. And Google Play had released it early. Like, the company was like scrambling. They're like, we were not ready for this. We did not know this was going to happen. And what happened is there was a time zone difference, and Google Play ended up posting it Eastern. And they were expecting it like Mountain Time. So it was like a 3-hour difference. So anyway, I got on. I immediately started setting up leagues. And what happened is I ended up with 3 leagues called the same thing. So last night, I couldn't figure out how to delete them. So last night I renamed 2 of the leagues. And then the league that I am playing right now is Packer Domination. And I will start inviting some people probably tonight for the Packer game if you just want to tool around. Because I want to test it, because there's only one game and it's a night game, and that's going to be a ton of traffic. And I'm worried that the game isn't going to hold out. But again, that's just good information and data for them to figure out how they need to allocate their resources. But anyway, the name of the league is Packer Domination that I'm playing. But if you've got friends, you can start your own league and start to play and start smack talking. The chat room is open. You can put your picture with your profile. You can go find. I'm linked up with Jermichael Finley on the game. He's already a proponent of the game. He's in the list. That's the name, Packer Domination. And you will get invited by a bunch of people, and it does have notifications. There's a little notification bar at the bottom that will let you know when people are inviting you to leagues, inviting you to games. There's going to be a flurry of that, I'm sure. And there are a ton of Packer leagues already. So you can involved in as many as you want. Your pregame picks, you just pick for all of your leagues. And then you go in and your live play. We tried to play 2 live games to get more points. And we're going to give you tips and tricks as we figure it out. We're getting ahead of it a little bit. And Gary's saying server crash anticipated. And I think the way Packers fans show up and the fact that it's Monday night, I think it very well should. So again, you just play and enjoy the points you get, because they're never going to go away. Whatever points you get are never going to go away. And none of it, you don't have to pay for your tokens. And it's all going to get fixed and ready to roll before they start, they roll out the public. What is the game? The game is Fire Fan, and you can find it on Google Play. And it is basically, apparently, Kathy, you haven't caught this. I'm going to go over it just in summary. So if anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, this is the very first. It has just been released to Google Play for the first time ever. or Google Play and iTunes Store. Live action play with your team. So this is, if you love fantasy, this can play with fantasy, but it's not fantasy. You don't have to know everything about football. Anybody who knows the game of football just on a basic level can have a blast. And if the better you know football, yeah, it might help you, but your kids can play this game with you. My brother came over, we had a party and we played, and it drew me into 3 games. I couldn't quit. Like I couldn't quit. And one of the things I was a little concerned about was that it might be kind of unobtrusive. You play with one hand on your phone, and I was making food, and all you got to do is set it on the game system. It rolls up live action plays for you. It does the stats just like a ticker. I followed the game while I wasn't watching just by using the game. There is so much cool stuff to this game. But you get to play with the Packers for a change. And what I can guarantee you from playing a little bit, even if the Packers lose, you can still have more fun watching this game. So the only thing that I'm a little hesitant about right now is you have to understand it's in beta because there are going to be problems. And it's kind of like, Facebook rolled out Live and they had problems. Google rolled out Google Fi. And they had problems. But the reason they do that is to get the data. So that's why you're playing for free right now. You don't have to worry about anything. We're going to get it all figured out, taken care of, and then we're going to start league play, and we are going to play for the precious, which is this ring, since, Kathy, you might not know it. This is our trophy. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a really cool looking. It's going to look great on somebody's desk, and we call it the precious after the token thing. And so we're going to get that. We're going to play right through to the Super Bowl this year, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So, all right. I will close with that. I hope you guys do get on. If you're concerned about being patient with any of the beta features, just hold off on the game. The game is going to notify you automatically because you're signed. Those of you that signed up early, with the code Get the Ring. That's all you got to remember. The code is Get the Ring, and that gets you in. If you sign up early, right now you're going to get your tokens for free. All right, you're going to get to do some playing and just tooling around. All right, Waylon is staying optimistic. All right, I'm loving it. And I must say, I have made an optimistic prediction because I've got the Packers winning this one, 35-31. All right, well, I will let you guys go. I know it's Monday. I hope you have a great one. I hope you guys are able to get up and go after a long weekend and have a great Monday. And hopefully tonight we can all celebrate a big Packers win against the Eagles. All right, have a good one. Go Pack.